Merry Christmas and happy holidays from the Crimson Stitchery. I'm currently here in the Christmas lair. We're finally decorated and we're so happy to have you here. Hello and welcome to the Crimson Stitchery, a video channel about making all things beautiful and useful. My name is Anushka. You can find me elsewhere online as A Sour Telling, and links to this video can be found in the description box here on YouTube. Hi and welcome to my last vlog podcast episode of the year. I'm really happy to be here. I spent December attempting to do Vlogmas where I originally aimed to upload a video on December weekdays, but I've ended up doing on average 4 videos a week, which is quite a lot for me, especially as I wasn't actually doing a kind of daily vlog of my activities, just because since I've been at home due to the various lockdowns that have been happening on and off, so it feels here in London in the southeast of England. Yeah, just due to that, it just felt like following me around with my phone and like doing the same things like eating breakfast and lunch and sitting at my computer every day would be quite boring. So I also uploaded some of what I like to think of as my helpful videos, where I talk about other things at length. So I had a video about gift knitting. I uploaded actually just before Vlogmas started a tutorial about knitting with a ream of fairy lights that I've got as well. Yeah, just various other things. So I have a playlist for my December videos available. And I thought that I would also upload the last vlog of the year and upload it on Christmas Eve. So that is what we're doing today. I'm feeling very, very Christmassy. We finally decorated the flat. I'm wearing my Christmas jumper that if you're a regular viewer, you'll recognise because I knit it in July and August this year. Wearing my pair of my Christmas socks, which are the Fairy Lights yarn by West Yorkshire Spinners. Yeah, so this is pretty much as Christmassy as it's gonna get in our household. Christmas is banned in the UK. I just had a very lovely phone call with my best friend in Geneva, and she was like, oh yeah, we're gonna see each other, just 5 people are allowed. And I was like, oh well, Christmas is cancelled here in London. And yeah, just gotta make the most of things really. So yeah, thought I'd check in with a vlog to share what I've been making, which is mainly 2 projects that you'll recognise if you're a regular viewer. And then at the end, because that's all I've got to show you, just a little bit of knitting, at the end I'll just have a little brief chat about my plans for the Crimson Stitchery next year into 2020. Also in this episode I'll be drawing and announcing the winners for the Crimson Sockalong, which had been running this year, so keep watching to find out who won the giveaway prizes. Let me share with you what I've got in my knitting basket, which is looking more dilapidated each time. I've got a bit of the bark wrap of the handle is starting to come off, but that's okay, you know, old things are still beloved. And what I've mostly been working on since I last recorded a vlog about what I've been making, which was quite a few weeks ago now, is the jumper for my partner, or rather cardigan. So this is a vintage pattern that was reproduced multi-size and updated in the volume Stitch in Time #2 by Susan Crawford and Jane Waller, and I knit a lot of things from these books. They're really fantastic in my opinion. And these books mainly have patterns for women, but this is a very unisex style of kind of bomber jacket kind of thing, which is based off like a man's style anyway. So I have been knitting it for my partner because it kind of resembles a little bit a jacket that he doesn't have anymore, used to have. And it doesn't have an exact date on this pattern, but it does say that it's 1940s. It says Good Taste number 704 Autumn Woolly Supplement. I like the fact that there was a magazine called Good Taste, like buy us and you know you'll be okay. Yeah, so I've been knitting that for him, and it's not necessarily a Christmas present, it's mainly a gift, combination birthday, Christmas, anniversary, Valentine's and Chinese New Year. But I've actually been working on it quite monogamously, as they say, just one thing at a time. So it's quite possible that it actually might get finished knitted, the knitting might be finished by the end of 2020, but I've got to order zips. It's got quite a lot of zips on it. It's got a front zip, and then I've put in 3 pockets, all of which require a zip opening. So I need to make a decision about that, because when you open up a web browser and you type in zip, you get thousands and thousands and thousands of shopping results. It's a bit overwhelming, so I really need to go in there and make that order, especially because we're in the UK, at least on the day that I'm filming, we're in this midst of like end of the world postage, importation, lorries, ports, freight kind of situation, without wanting to get into it too much. This video channel has been going for nearly 2 years and I've still managed to avoid the B word. So I'm still not going to say the B word, but you all know that it's because of something to do with the B word and the new big B word that's currently in charge of the country. Anyway, politics aside, so let me see, what did I have last time? So I started off with knitting the fronts. So I've got those, and I decided to do, you can see that, well, I'm telling you that these are the fronts, you can't really see what they are. They're just 2 skinny pieces of knitting. And then for the shoulders, instead of binding off the shoulders and then sewing them together, I did short row shaping on the shoulders, and I've saved the stitches on stitch holders because I'm going to be doing a 3 needle bind off. So that's that, and you can see it's got this lovely diagonal chevron pattern, so that when the 2 pieces come together, the V's, you know, the V is going to be coming down from the shoulders into the chest, which will be quite fun and flattering. So yeah, I've got these 2. I really can't remember where I was on this project last time that I showed it to you, but recently I did the sleeves. This is one sleeve, so it just looks like another skinny tube of knitting. And because obviously my partner being a man and I'm knitting from a woman's pattern, there's different body shapes involved. So I took some measurements off an existing cardigan that he had and sort of fudged around with the numbers and the gauge and the pattern, and, you know, changed the lengths here and there, added width here and there to try and mimic one of his existing garments, because, you know, he does have the male figure of having much broader shoulders and a much narrower waist than your, you know, typical / average / whatever you want to call it, normative female body type, at least one that's being written for in a knitting pattern. So yeah, that's been fine. I just kind of carried this cardigan around with me in the knitting bag, and I'm just toting it around literally in a drawstring bag. I just made those comparisons on the fly. So hang on, what have we got? Oh yeah, here's the back piece. It's the most recent piece. And then I've done the collar as well, which is just a shaped piece of rib that will be folded over and attached like that, more or less. So that's all those pieces. And the other thing to mention is the yarn, which I'm now looking for. Basically my gauge was very different because I wasn't using the suggested yarn, and I really like the yarn. It's Vovo, meaning grandma, by Rosa Pomar, Retrosaria Rosa Pomar, which is a Portuguese yarn brand, and it's in this really gorgeous shade of burgundy, really rich red that is flecked with bright reds and black. So I'm assuming that the fleeces maybe of the sheep might have been dark fleeces. And it says that, so I chose the yarn with my partner. I kind of went back and forth. I gave him a few different options about what he might like to have. And we decided that it would be best to have a yarn that was going to have a stiffer texture, which is why I went for this, you know, not too drapey, because the jacket, you know, it's very fitted at the waist. It's got a nipped in waistband, and then it blouses out over the top. And then it's kind of got these sort of stiff, slightly bulky sleeves. So if you imagine like it's what a baseball jacket, that kind of thing, varsity jacket kind of shape, and those fabrics are always very stiff. It tends to be cotton canvas, sometimes leather. What else can you get? You can get kind of quilted panels inside, which again gets them to hold their volume. So obviously the knitted jacket is not lined, so it's not going to be as stiff in terms of the fabric characteristics, but at least we could go more towards that direction. And one of the things that I really liked is that it says, this yarn says that it's fine Portuguese wool, mostly from Serra da Estrela sheep. And Serra da Estrela sheep produce the most gorgeous, delicious, sumptuous luxurious cheese. And when we were on holiday in Porto, we sampled some from like a little foodie market, and it was absolutely heavenly. And we had all these debates with the not butcher, what do you call cheesemongerer, cheesemakers. Like, he told us all about the sheep and the cheese and this and the other, and we had all these debates about whether or not we could get away with having the cheese in our carry-on in the plane back home. Oh, those days when you were allowed to travel. So yeah, I really liked that. It was just like a lovely touch. We have so many happy memories of holidays from Portugal. A delicious cheese, and now the wool from the sheep that produce the cheese. So these are like fabulous sheep, you know, 10 out of 10 sheep earning their keep. Definitely. I don't know what the meat from this sheep is like as well. I don't know if that's tasty too. I imagine it probably is, because they're such awesome sheep, you know, great sheep to have around, Ceratastrella. So yeah, that was lovely. So the main thing to note is that because it was a different yarn, my gauge was totally different, and my row gauge was a lot shorter. So I didn't think I was going to have enough yarn. So I kind of last minute ordered some more yarn, and I didn't know whether to get one ball or two. You know, I thought one would probably suffice, but I wasn't quite sure. So I got two, and then, you know, as luck would have it, now it looks like I'm almost going to have enough yarn, so that's kind of annoying. But it means that I'll have two balls of really gorgeous yarn just hanging around at home, so maybe I can put it into a design project or something like that. While we're on the note of design projects, this has been a really lovely year for the Crimson Stitchery, because I've released in total 7 patterns, which I'm really pleased about. I released 4 sock patterns, which were my warm weather sock collection, where I experimented with ways of, you know, devising excellently fitting hand knitted socks that had like great designs and like made a lovely use of colour and were suitable for warm weather, because, you know, on the one hand, it's a shame if you love to knit socks, it's a shame not to be able to wear your hand knit socks when it warms up a little bit, but also on the other hand, there's lots of people who enjoy knitting that do live in a warm climate, so I kind of wanted to offer something to them as well. And thank you, I've received some really lovely comments about exactly that concept from people. So thank you, that's been really, really encouraging to hear that, you know, my kind of idea in that sense has been reciprocated. So then most recently, so aside from those socks, sorry, I also released a cowl pattern at the beginning of the year, a lace cowl called Sagittate. And recently I released gloves, fingerless gloves, and a hat pattern. And I've got links to my web shops down below on Ravelry and on Payhip, where you can download my knitting patterns for these items. So 7 items, and I've been hinting about these guys quite a lot over the autumn, because it was a design collaboration with Diana Waller. And I did make a separate video about these designs, which I'll put a link to on screen now if you want to hear a little bit more about them. The hat pattern's called Brandy Butter, and the gloves are called Ginger Snap, so it's all very wintry and festive and, you know, suitable for our Christmas Eve episode. And I've already seen a finished version of the Brandy Butter hat, which popped up on Instagram. So please do, you know, feel free to tag me in those. And also for all of my designs, I create branded hashtags for those as well. So there should be a hashtag available for every design that I make. And I pop those notes about that in each pattern, so you should be able to find those. But yeah, really delighted about that. Diana and I are going to be having a live stream conversation about our collaboration, to tell you a lot more about that. And it's going to be in January. We need to find a new date for that. We were meant to be having this live stream conversation in December, you know, more in conjunction with the release of these patterns. But I think it's okay to say this because Diana put it on Instagram, but basically our date had to be moved to the future because she basically was unable to do the December date because she had some successful surgery, which was really good for her. So yeah, definitely keep following our social medias to find out when that conversation is going to happen, because it's going to be a live stream, which I'm excited by. I'm really excited by it. And maybe this is something that I'll touch on a little bit later. But the best place to keep updated with me is my monthly newsletter. I tend to release it towards the beginning of every month when I have an announcement. So once my patterns, you know, whatever it is, are done, I'll put the newsletter out and I'll shove all the information in that. But also, you know, more information will come out through my YouTube channel, through my Instagram, and so on. But yeah, definitely sign up to the newsletter. And the newsletter is the best place to get, yeah, just the kind of notifications about all the latest stuff and discounts as well as that. So yeah, my lovely patterns that I'm super, super happy about. And then the next thing that I've been knitting on, but not so much in recent weeks, but more at the beginning of December, is my leftovers log cabin blanket. So let's see where I am, because I actually haven't worked on this in a couple of weeks. I worked on this a lot in the November lockdown, I think because I was really down, and it was really encouraging to be able to work on something like this because it's a log cabin pattern. So yeah, you knit all of these small pieces, and there's a lot of encouragement when you finish each piece. So here's one piece, and I've been joining together all of the log cabin squares with a 3 needle bind off as well, and that's mainly been in an attempt to avoid weaving in too many ends. So this one, let's see, this is like part of one. I like the fact that they're kind of lantern shapes. That was sort of my idea. This is part of another one. I think it's to do with the colour blocking. I didn't want there to be too many repeat colours kind of touching each other. This one. It's doing quite well, really. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. So I've got 2 full length ones and 2 part ones, and then I need to do a 5th, and then I think that's going to be it, because it's going to be 5 by 5 squares. So that's really lovely. And then I've got this ball of beautiful hand spun yarn that was sent to me as a gift by a viewer, that I'm going to be using for the edging and things like that. Maybe I'll do like a lovely textured border or shaped border, because I realised that all of the colours in this ball of hand spun match the kind of colours that I was using in the squares. So that's that really. And then I have one ball of white that is the same as this jumper that I'm keeping aside, because I think I need to lengthen. You can see the sleeves are riding up, which isn't too bad, but the bottom rides up a bit, so I might lengthen that jumper. But I haven't got round to it yet. And then yeah, I've got a bunch of little squares that I knit at the beginning that are still going there. And yeah, that's really it. So this blanket is a sort of last ditch attempt for the end of my Stashless 2020 year, and I do have plans to record more videos about that year, sort of assessing how it went and analysing what I've learned, and you know, what worked and maybe what didn't work. And I was hoping to get those out in Vlogmas, but it just hadn't happened, so I'll just do that in January instead, I think. So yeah, that's everything that's in my knitting basket. This jumper's cardigan's been the main thing that I've been working on lately. I actually do really like knitting things in pieces, because I find that it's light and portable, but then obviously you've got to do all of the finishing. But to be honest, you always have a lot of finishing when you make cardigans anyway, more than when you make jumpers, because you have to deal with, you know, all of that kind of fastenings and all of that business. So yeah, looking forward to getting that done probably in the Christmas holidays. Next up is conversational threads, which I haven't managed to have in a while, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about what I'm thinking of doing with the Crimson Stitchery over 2021. Even just saying that, this year has really slipped by, which I feel like I say every year. But this year in particular, I think with all of the lockdowns and everything, a lot of the months just sort of blurred into one. So yeah, 2020 has been a pretty big year for the channel, because for the first time I had a video that really went out trending on YouTube, which of course was my knitting on a budget video, which has now got over 100,000 views and brought in so many new people to this channel. So we hit really fabulous milestones. We're now just at 11,000 subscribers. And of course, as I mentioned, I also designed and released 7 knitting patterns, and I hosted a knit along for those for some of those patterns, the sock patterns, over the summer. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, these are really, really fabulous goals to have met. I'm not really like a big numbers person, you know, I'm not going to be crunching loads of statistics and stuff like that, but I really do feel like we have achieved so much together for the channel, and I do mean we because it is a collaborative endeavour, because, you know, all of the comments, the feedback, people who buy my patterns and knit them, people who support the channel financially through donating over on Ko-fi, you know, I'm creating stuff for you guys, you know, to watch, and then you guys are giving me feedback and I'm responding to it. And, you know, making alterations, coming up with different ideas, you know, thinking about how I do things. And I think from the beginning of starting this channel, which was in, I think it was Feb 2019, so just under 2 years ago, I knew that, you know, knitting was very popular on YouTube and knitting vlogs and stuff like that, but I knew that I didn't want to do the same thing as everybody else was doing, which is the show and tell, which I enjoy doing and I know that everyone enjoys watching. But I knew that I wanted to be creating content that was going to be helpful to people, that would help them grow and learn and share my ideas and advice, but also to empower people to almost learn how to learn, rather than just kind of taking everything in, but, you know, going out and searching for the answers yourself, and, you know, trying to figure out like what works for you, because only you can determine that. So that's why, you know, alongside these podcasts, these vlogs, I've also had, you know, a manner of different videos as well, sometimes asking questions, sometimes provoking debate, sometimes demonstrating tutorials and techniques, and kind of giving my experience through videos as well. And it's been really great to hear how you guys have been really receptive to that. And I'm thinking about what to do in 2021, because I think my ability to make videos and create content and design, it's all based on how I am with my PhD. I'm a part-time PhD student and I do teach part-time as well. So basically, the pandemic came at a really, really bad time for my PhD, because I was doing my field work and that involved talking to people, I was going to say touching people, but I mean more like engaging with people on a one-on-one basis in person, generally in their homes or, you know, in their space, either at home or at their place of work, that kind of thing. And also because I do research clothing and textiles and dress, touching their things, you know, looking at people's wardrobes and things like that. So the pandemic came at a really bad time for that. I have managed to convert some of that to online work, but it's just kind of still very up in the air as to what I'm going to do for my studies. And the point being, you know, the reason why I'm telling you this is that, you know, there have been times where I've not been able to do any academic research at all really, and I've sort of channeled that energy into making things for YouTube, for the Crimson Stitchery instead. But it's very up and down, you know, it's not, it's not like a direct correlation, and it's not predictable. So all that to say is, I think that I need to make content that is a little bit shorter, so that it's easier for me to edit. So my vlogs have generally been 30 to 40 minutes long, generally not more than 45, but occasionally longer. And it just takes so many hours of editing. Also because I, you know, have got high standards. I want things to look good, to sound good, and to be as good as they can be for you guys. So yeah, because I have high standards, it takes longer. And I think even doing the Vlogmas was almost quite difficult for me, because I purposefully let go of some of those standards so that I could just kind of get more raw content out to people. And I was very explicit about that, you know, I really said this is very candid, this is not edited and polished in any way, I'm not wearing makeup, my hair looks horrendous, the lighting's horrendous. But actually, you know, the people that watched it were very supportive and encouraging, and yeah, it's just like a different side of this, which was the point. But yeah, so overall I think my content needs to be shorter. It would be great if it could be a bit more regular, because generally I release every 1 to 2 weeks. So generally not every week, but sometimes I manage to get another video in. So in total, like 2 to 3 times a month. But it would be cool to get, you know, a video out a week. And it would be cool to keep building educational content, or helpful content as I keep calling it, as well. So I'm thinking about what to do with these vlogs. I know that they're really popular. I generally share, you know, the other activities that I've been up to. I knit, I mend things, I have a section called Larder Life, which is about fermentation, herbal medicine, gardening, baking, cooking, storage, you know, home and garden, home kitchen and garden kind of section normally. But I'm wondering if it's best to split those up or if it's best to kind of just stick to one topic per month, or yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to play with the format, I think, in the coming months, and as always I would be grateful to have your feedback. And also I want to do more designing in 2021. It's been a really excellent creative outlet, I think, making those discoveries. I am a very, very creative person, and as some people have pointed out, you know, every time that I make things from a pattern, I barely follow the instructions anyway. I alter so much. I alter the yarn, I alter the gauge, the size, the shape. Yeah, lots of like smaller details. I add things in, and it makes sense that that energy could be channeled into designs that I'm creating to sell, to try and support myself, to try and support this channel, because, you know, to keep going with the amount of time that it takes to invest in it, and also the fact that it's not just me, because my partner is my tech support, very welcome and appreciated tech support. It takes a lot of time, and I'm so lucky and grateful that, you know, I can have just basic stuff like the YouTube ads switched on because it's bringing in some income, the pattern sales, and even more grateful for the Ko-fi support, people who are just donating directly, because there's so many costs going on in this. And I feel like this is all like very dry and boring, but I'm just trying to be honest with you guys about, you know, what it is that I want to achieve, and I'm so excited to have you guys along with me. And yeah, like I said, open to your feedback. So I mentioned live streams with Diana. I'm going to be doing that, Diana of Paper Tiger Knits. I'll be doing that in January with her at some point, probably towards the end of January, I imagine. But again, I'll keep you updated. But I'm also wondering if, like, maybe it's a good idea, instead of doing the vlog, you know, the show and tell of what I've been making as a very highly edited and stylized podcast, maybe I could do that as a live stream. Would you guys be interested in that instead? And I could just share everything I've been working on once a month, maybe either at the beginning or the end. Yeah, on a live stream that's kind of very direct. So yeah, just lots and lots of different ideas. As always, would love to hear from you. And yeah, thank you so much for being here with me. It's truly appreciated. So the last thing that remains is to pick the winners for the Crimson Sockalong. The Crimson Sockalong is a knit along that I've been running across the last 6 months or so, in conjunction with the sock designing that I've been doing, as I managed to release 4 new sock patterns for my warm weather sock collection that I mentioned earlier. And I ran the knit along both through our Ravelry group as well as on Instagram through the hashtag Crimson Sockalong, and it's been so wonderful to see your entries pop up over the last couple of months in all manner of colours, yarns, styles, settings and situations. So thank you so much to everyone who entered, and we do have 3 prizes, which are 3 little sock project bags that I sewed myself. They're drawstring project bags in different styles, and in each of those bags are a skein of yarn that I've sort of loosely themed to the bag. Here's the third one, and I sewed the bags. 2 of the skeins of yarn were donated by a viewer, so thank you so much. And yeah, I'm delighted to be drawing a winner from the Instagram hashtag, from the Ravelry chatter thread, as well as from the special hashtag that was created for anyone that managed to knit 6 patterns across the 6 months. So that's really wonderful. And I did draw the winners randomly through various different random generators. So let me announce these to you now. I need to get my computer. So on the Ravelry chatter thread, the winner is Tay Campbell, who is Trisha, who's based in Canada. So Tay Campbell, congratulations Trisha. And she knit a pair of really lovely soft violet coloured Twister Lolly socks, and they look really gorgeous. The winner of the Crimson Sockalong hashtag entrance over on Instagram was Anne Miwa. Anne Miwa, All Things Creative. So congratulations to you. And Miwa All Things Creative actually knit several of my patterns and shared them like at the swimming pool and at the beach and so on, so that's been really lovely to see. And she's got a very distinct style, so it's really fun to see how my ideas and my designs were sort of interpreted in her style. And the winner of the person that managed to knit all 6 patterns is Cara over on Instagram, carafolia_life, from the Netherlands. So congratulations. And Cara, like me, loves all things foliagey, plants and leaves, and created lots of lovely pictures of house plants and so on with my sock designs. So that was Tay Campbell, Anne Miwa, All Things Creative, and Carafolia Life. What I'd like you to do is to drop me an email to thecrimsonstitchery@gmail.com and let me know your address. But also, can you let me know which bag you'd like of the 3? So please let me know your first choice, your number 1 preference, and your second choice. And I'm hoping that amongst the 3 people that will somehow correlate. But you know, if it doesn't correlate, one person's, you know, gonna have to get a random random choice. Please understand. So we've got the red and cream stripy with the purple yarn inside. We've got the purple and pink bag with the blue yarn inside, and then we've got the red and blue bag with the orange yarn inside. So drop me an email with your name, your postal address, and your first 2 choices of the prizes. However, just be aware, you know, I don't know how much everyone is watching the news, but the postal situation in the UK is absolutely crazy. And the last that I heard or read in the newspaper online was that they had stopped post to continental Europe due to COVID. So I will probably just sit tight and wait until mid-January maybe to post it when hopefully things have calmed down. But meanwhile, please do get that email into me. And I would like to finally thank everybody who bought sock patterns, bought patterns in general off me in the last year, who took part in the Sockalong, who shared their projects and their progress. Honestly, it's been such a delight. Please continue to do so. I know that obviously due to the warm weather theme of the design collection, it's all kind of lacy, but I'm hoping to do more sock designs in 2021 that are maybe more for cold weather or mild weather. And yeah, just kind of watch this space really. And just a last very, very big thank you to everybody who has contributed to the Crimson Stitchery financially by buying me a coffee and donating to the podcast over on Ko-fi. There's a link below if you're interested. Basically, Ko-fi is a donation platform that allows you to directly contribute to the running costs, which are significant, buying new equipment and so on and so forth. In this case, it gave me the money and the means to be able to buy yarn from local yarn shops in London, from majority British businesses, and many of them were like women owned. You know, I really tried to invest that money wisely. So I bought that yarn and I used that to create all of the samples for my patterns this year. And it's really thanks to you guys, because being being a student, I'm on quite a tight budget, and it's really allowed you guys kind of as a community to invest in my design work and myself as a creative person and as an artist. So I'm truly grateful. And yeah, if you'd like to get involved with that, the links are down below. So that's everything from me today. I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate, and if you don't, just a generally happy December. The end of 2020 is coming up. I'm hoping to convert to hopefully weekly videos at some point. I might get one out next week, I might not. We'll just have to see how things go. Meanwhile, do keep in touch. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you've been up to as you've been watching this video in late December, and let me know how you are. And if you are also wearing a Christmas jumper. Oh, I can't remember if I mentioned it now at the top of the episode, but this is Yule Gran by Andy Satterland. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Take care everybody, and I'll see you at the Crimson Stitchery sometime soon. Bye bye.